we probably can't control a lot of what's going on, but we can control our relationship to it and our response to it. And so if we take back that power when we don't have a lot of other power, what does that look like and what does that feel like? What are the perspective shifts that change our relationship to the reality, even if the reality can't change or doesn't change in the short term? Okay, so we're going to start with a quick set of questions. I'm going to put them in chat. If you guys can just put your answers right into chat, we're going to do a fire round just to get a sense of the room. So the first question is, what are the 3 words you would use to describe your current mental fitness? So everyone will interpret what mental fitness is of your own accord, but everyone just throw into chat right now. 3 words that you would use to describe your current mental fitness. Is the number one thing that you are doing that you can see is having a positive impact on your mental fitness? So just take a second, put it into chat. If you think about all of the ways that you're living your life, the things you're doing, the practices you have, the mindset you're trying to build, if you just sort of think about everything in your life, what's the number one thing that's helping you? So then number 3, what is the number one intruder on your mental fitness right now? And this changes, right? So just think right now, in this moment, right now. What's the number one intruder on our mental fitness? What is in the way? What is hijacking it? What's trying to be the loudest voice in our heads right now? So the trend, making the right decisions, right? Like this pressure we have on ourselves. Am I doing it right? Am I going to get it right? Am I going to fail or succeed? Am I going to, right? All this pressure. So again, the pattern is incredibly clear, right? What are the things that build our mental fitness? What are the things that intrude on that mental fitness? So I'm not so like Pollyanna and ridiculous to pretend that all of us are just going to magically get rid of the intruders and like live in the good parts. But let's go through a process together. So I'm going to ask you all 3 questions. I encourage us to have like pen and notepad. Let's journal. For each question that I ask, I'm going to give like 2 minutes, but I'm going to give us like 90 seconds to just think about each question. The rule, the goal, the idea is that we want to just let ourselves write whatever comes to our mind. So don't try to answer the question. Don't get it right. Don't be a high performer. Just write whatever comes up for you, okay? Just let whatever is true come up. All right. First question. What do you need to simply accept? Number 2, what do you need to change? Okay, and let that question be as vague as I intend it. Just what happens for the next 90 seconds? Last question. What do we need to simply accept? What do you need to change? What are you grateful for? Okay, bonus question. Do you currently identify with any of the stages of stuck? And I'll just remind you what those are. I'm going to put them into chat. So 1 is I'm so busy. 2 is I'm overwhelmed. 3 is I've lost my passion. 4 is I want to quit. Okay, so stages of stuck. So what do we do with these sort of self-assessments that we've just gone through? We came into the room feeling all sorts of things. We are thinking about what we simply need to accept. We're thinking about what we need to change because, there's also reality that we have agency and control. We're thinking about and recognizing what we have to be grateful for. And then we're sort of really acknowledging where we're at. Are we sort of thriving and doing okay? And or are we starting to sort of move our way through these stages of stuck? What do we do with all of this? Did anything come up for you in just processing those 3 questions? Did you, let me ask a more specific question. Do you see something differently or do you feel differently today or right this moment
than maybe you did 15 minutes ago? Was there an aha or an insight that surfaced for you in taking those couple of minutes for reflection? That's why I always talk about the stages of stuck, because it's like, let's normalize that we feel, these are things we feel and places we arrive. And the power is to learn how to do interventions to move ourselves back out of it. The magic is not that we never get to these stages of stuck. That's an impossible request of ourselves. It's that we build the infrastructure around ourselves to be able to say them out loud, normalize it, right? Take some of the energy out of it, and then do the intervention to move us back into action. So I think that we're going to design interventions in this time we have together to move us from where we are to where we need to be. And so that's where the power comes from. The power does not come from we've got it all figured out, everything's always perfect, we always hit our goals. The power comes from being able to say what's true and then build this muscle of being able to do these interventions. And by the way, we can't do those alone. None of us, no human on the planet is able to do it on their own. That's why we need, right? Success is science. We need each other, we need community, we need coaching, we need support, we need all of the things that allow us to see what is true, accept it. I think there's something beautiful accepting, like, oh, right now I feel like I want to quit. Okay. And now what do I need to change? And now what am I grateful for? Right. So I actually think that stage of stuck is probably the thing to accept, not agree with, but accept as a current reality. And then we get to work, and then we figure out what to do. When I wrote the stages of stuck, notice that stage 4 is I'm going to quit. It's I want to quit. That's on purpose, because that you can want to quit. I'm not going to let you. We're not going to let you. We're going to get it. We're going to figure it out. But that feeling of I want to, it again, normalizing it, right? Okay, you want to. It's freaking hard. That's real. That doesn't mean you will. It doesn't mean that's the right decision. And there is an intervention. There is a solution to it. And so I just think it's amazing you guys are talking about it. I'm actually being serious. It is in these conversations that we'll get out of stuck stage 4.
So maybe I need to accept the fact that there's going to be a lot of roadblocks and push through them and build up that muscle. And I do think we build up an awful lot of muscle as small business owners.
The most resilient people on the planet. I mean, I really believe that, right? I mean, the odds, the roadblocks, I'm going to totally take that feedback, Melody, and think about the stages of stuck, because I do think sometimes it feels stuck when we just can't get the thing done. Like no matter how hard we push and we try and we negotiate and we are resilient and we keep coming back and we keep fighting for more, we just can't get it done. There's somebody else on the other side of our determination, and sometimes we can't get them to do the thing. So what do we do in those? I mean, I think that's a really interesting element of stuck to play with, actually, because that's real. I predict that there will be more roadblocks in the next couple of years, right? Like I predict that there will be more roadblocks. And I love that language instead of saying it's going to be harder or more complicated. But I just predict, I think that, whether we're thinking about the global economy, where we're thinking about people being overwhelmed and burnt out, trying to, drive high performing teams, whether we're thinking about, whatever we're thinking about, the roadblocks are probably going to go up in the next couple of years, not down. And so what does it mean? How do we then very intentionally prepare ourselves to be really good at handling those roadblocks, to be really good at sort of being stewards, managers, pusher-throughers of those roadblocks? And I think a lot of it is mental fitness. So how do we handle roadblocks? I mean, I think that's a really, really, really fabulous framing, actually, because I think we need to accept question number 1, that there's going to be more of them. Mm-hmm. So if we can't get rid of them, then what? Then what do we do? And that's a really, really beautiful conversation to be in together. When you get to what you're grateful for, we have freedom. We have agency. We're not stuck in a system. Right. And so you start to find the things that actually even in the hardship, it's our version of hardship. It's our version, right, that we still have some agency and control over. And you can find the things to be grateful for even in the worst moment of being a business owner, I think, right? Which I think is critical